All right, let's transition to the Fanduel 4 o'clock slate. I've got it pulled up on the screen here. We have Verlander on the 4 o'clock slate. There's a couple other guys, right? But like if you were going to play Max Fried, it's $400 more for Justin Verlander. If you were going to play Logan Gilbert, it's $800 more for Justin Verlander. You gotta. He's expensive, but I think you got to start the cash team out with Justin Verlander today, Keith.
Yep, no doubt. That matchup against Oakland just provides the best possible safety you could ask for. Verlander goes deep into games. Strikeouts are down a little bit this season, but that doesn't matter when you've got a matchup this good. He's very clearly the cash game option.
Yeah, and in tournaments, Andre, like he's 11-1, and I haven't. In full honesty, I did not play around with any tournament teams on FanDuel for the 4 o'clock slate yet because it's still 2 o'clock. I'm not sure exactly what that gets you overall, but if you're just using you're going to end up with a lot of the same stuff. I think I was mentioning this on the DraftKings version of the show. You just end up with a lot of the same value plays because he is so expensive. If we are, we're projecting him at 43% ownership, even in this is tournament ownership. That means he's going to be like 75 or 80 for cash games. Is he worth it at that price? Is there anyone else? Like I would love to play Gilbert, but he's not cheap enough compared to Verlander. And even Kremer at 8,900, you can mix in a couple of these guys. Like we were playing Max Meyer on DraftKings at 5K, but he's 8,100 on FanDuel. Now he could still get there, but it's just the price ranges they're not far enough apart for me to want to move away from Verlander.
Yeah, and I completely agree. Only person that would like Gilbert is an option, especially after the performance that Robbie Ray put on yesterday. I think, especially in tournaments, but Max Fried is the only guy that I could think, just because the strikeouts have been down a little bit for Verlander, and he can possibly give up some home runs, and granted they'll probably be like solo shot home runs, but just because he can give up a little bit of those today, I do like trying to get just a little bit of diversity by having a guy like diversification, I should say, with the guy like Max Fried, who it does get a matchup against the Washington Nationals. I know they don't strike out a lot, only coming in with a 17% strikeout rate on the season. Overall in the projected lineup that they put out, but I just think that he still presents a lot of upside. It's a young guy. I think he can go deep into the game too as well. You have to worry about the hard contact a little bit, but he limits his walks a lot. He's mainly a ground ball pitcher too. So I know the strikeout upside is just high with Oakland, but just in case something goes wrong, I don't mind a little bit of Max Fried.
Yeah, I think Kremer we talked about on the DraftKings version of the show. I think he's in play as well. The other guy, I wasn't playing him so much on DraftKings, but I like him a little bit more on FanDuel. Is Cal Quantrill. I like him to go deep, pick up the quality start. I took the over 17.5 outs prop, so that gets me to 6 innings, and that gets you the quality start on FanDuel. And this is just like, it's the matchup where he gets like, if he gets 5 or even like 6 Ks and limits damage and gets the quality start and the win, it might not meet the guy who's at the top, but at the price range, like if Verlander puts up a big number, you're going to need it. But him and like Kremer are the guys that can maybe get there. And then you've got the dark horse Max Meyer in his first start as well, are probably the other tournament options I would be looking at.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. In that sense, but Detroit's a fickle team. They're not that great, but Crowd Control's not that great of a pitcher, in my opinion.
I will say the strikeouts at the top are not that intimidating today. Like Verlander has a 25% strikeout rate. Fried and Gilbert are both in that like 22-23% range. So I don't hate the idea of playing somebody like a Quantrill. I think I prefer Kremer for the strikeout upside just because his matchup is a little bit better. I think he's got a little bit better stuff than Quantrill, but I agree Quantrill is probably going deep into this game. So maybe you can get there with the quality start, the win, and 6 or 7 innings. So I don't hate it. I don't think there's a ton of strikeout upside on the slate. So agree that he's in play.
That outs prop, I saw it at 17.5 at like 5:30 in the morning when I woke up. Like I'm rolling out of bed and I'm pressing, starting to bet that right away because
that was me building UFC lineups this morning.
it was too good for me to pass on. All right, let's go to a couple of. I don't know if it's still out there. The juice is probably. It was at like -110. I'm sure the juice is a little higher, but that is one of my favorite bets of the day if you can get it. Catcher. Are we playing a catcher in cash or are we playing a couple first basemen today, Keith?
Definitely first baseman here.
All right, so we'll just sort of skip over catcher. Who are we looking at would be from like the cash game perspective on FanDuel?
So I think Atlanta is pretty clearly the best offense on this slate. Matt Olson is the guy for me. Josh Naylor is a little bit cheaper. Don't mind that if for some reason you don't like Olson, but it's pretty clearly Olson for me.
All right, and then in tournaments, if a lot of people, I would imagine a lot of people are going to be playing Olson for sure in tournaments. What would we be looking at, Andre?
John. Well, we talked about Naylor as well. I think he's a good option. Ty France, if you want to go with the Seattle Cyclones I mentioned earlier, I like a lot. Actually, and I didn't bring this up too before, but I do like kind of like Baltimore today a little bit. So a guy like Trey Mancini, I don't mind going against Yarbrough, or Mountcastle as well. Either one of those, so I think are good options.
All right, let's go to second base. Again, we're waiting on Altuve. If he's in the lineup, Keith, I don't know if we're playing for. What was that?
He's leading off.
He is leading off, so we did make the lineup. We're playing. I guess I'm going under the assumption we're playing Verlander in cash. I don't have Altuve money, right? I'm not Juan Soto. I can't afford this anymore. So I'm just looking for something cheaper. There's a lot of dart throws in like this 2K to like 2.5K range. None of them really fit like the player I want. Maybe Jimenez hitting fifth today against Pineda is where I ultimately end up, but it's not really a great position at the price today. I was wondering who you were looking at.
Yeah, if you have the money for Altuve, the difference between why I said I wouldn't do it in DraftKings is because we didn't have the lineup. And if you build him into your cash game, now we're past lock, and he ends up not in the lineup, that now you're scrambling to kind of make your salary work, and you don't have all the pieces that you would have had. On a slate that's locking later, I don't mind Altuve at all. If you can get there, I would prefer to spend up on Jose Ramirez. You mentioned we're almost certainly playing Verlander. So we have limited spends. That does drop me down into that 2.5 to 2.8 range. I agree. Jimenez is the guy I'm looking at. Brandon Lau would be the other name I throw out there. At 3-1, talented hitter, just hasn't played in so long that it's tough to trust him. So I agree. It's Jimenez for me.
What was the wow for, Andre?
I hope that person played Indy in the lineup because he hit a solo.
Oh, right off the dot against Nicholas. Yeah. The weather edge, it tells the truth. It knew the home run was coming today in that 90-something degree weather. All right, let's go. Real quick, Andre, second base, tournaments. Who are you looking at?
Not really much, honestly, here. Like, I'm just going to continue to use a guy like Jose Altuve. I think probably going to be my top guy, obviously. I don't mind using the guy like Javier Baez as a one-off. Marcus Semien going against Gilbert. No, not high on him, but going to use him a little bit. Or one of these Seattle guys like Toro or Fraser and part of the stack.
All right, let's go to third base. This one's pretty easy for me. It's Jose Ramirez. If you're spending on anyone today on FanDuel for the slate, you can just squeeze in him and Verlander together, especially because we don't have Acuna to spend up for anymore. I know Andre likes Austin Riley, but I'm definitely playing Jose Ramirez for cheaper than instead of Austin Riley at the top today.
Yeah, for cash games, it's Ramirez. Just he's a guy that doesn't strike out, facing a low strikeout pitcher. He's getting on base a couple of times today. He's got that power and speed combination. But Riley is in a phenomenal spot as well for tournaments. I don't mind that. But for cash games, it'd be Ramirez.
All right. And then what would you be looking at? I know you like Riley in tournaments, Andre. Would there be anyone else standing out to you?
Yeah. I mentioned them before, like guys like Eugenio Suarez, Alex Bregman. Don't even mind a guy like Alec Bohm in a mini Philadelphia stack if you want to go that route too as well. But other than that, that's really the main guys I'll be looking at today at third.
Well, we're talking all these Cleveland players, right? So we're still on the Fanduel Sportsbook. If you're new there, right, you can go get a risk-free $1,000 bet if you are a new sign-up in one of the states that allows it. This Cleveland, I'm a sucker for these no-run first innings. I like the no-run first inning in that Cleveland game. Both Quantrill and somehow Michael Pineda, they're like magically some of the best pitchers in the first inning this year in terms of not allowing runs. I don't know if there's anything to that, but that is one of my that is another bet I placed on FanDuel today, and I just looked at it is minus 120 right now. If you were looking for something that is a bet that I do like as well. Let's go to shortstop. I'm sort of like building the lineup for this on another screen as we go through the show here. I'm finding myself with a lot of Indians, right? I had Jimenez at second base. We had Jose Ramirez. Shortstop's another one. I'm just limited in salary because I have Verlander. Would I want to play Dansby Swanson? Sure. I just can't get there, really because of the salary. So I found myself looking at Rosario. He's 2,900. You've got Josh Smith if you're desperate. Probably, I'd much rather play Rosario for $300 more. That's sort of. I'm just landing on a lot of these Cleveland bats right now, Keith.
Yeah, they're all very fairly priced. We love the matchup against Pineda, so I'm right there with you. I'm playing a ton of Cleveland as well. A guy I don't mind pivoting to if you can find the extra money is Jeremy Pena. He did grab the 2-hole there with the platoon advantage against Koenig, who's a very low strikeout pitcher for Oakland. Like that matchup a good amount, but I'm struggling also because I want Verlander and Ramirez. I'm having trouble getting up to the Swansons and the Seagers.
Yeah, what I want to be clear on is if you're playing Verlander with the Cleveland stack, either you have to do something very non-traditional with the other batter spots today, because that really looks like the combination that's going to be filling in all of the algorithms on this late slate on FanDuel. It just works out pretty well in my opinion today. So just keep that in mind for tournaments. If you have Verlander with Cleveland, you're along with the field. Try to go off the board with the rest of it, or maybe even semi-avoid that combination, or just use maybe one or two Cleveland guys would be a suggestion as well. For tournaments at third base, or actually shortstop, Andre, what would we be looking at there?
Corey Seager, Jeremy Pineda, these Cleveland guys that you mentioned, Rosario or Gisman is another option as well. Who else? There was one more guy who I was looking at too that I had some interest in. Diaz for also in Houston too, and then JP Crawford.
All right, let's go to the outfield. Not like I want to play Julio. I don't have 3,800 for Julio Rodriguez, right? So like if you can like figure out some way to do this, I would definitely want to play him. He's just breaking rookie records left and right every time he does something else in terms of home runs and steals and RBIs and runs and all that other stuff. He's just really turned into a great prospect. I'm going Tendon a little cheaper. Again, you've got Quan's 2,500. You've got Duvall hitting sixth, who a lot of people are going to be on. Had a big night. What's he got? Home runs in 2 of the last 3 games. 2,600 Adam Duvall looks like he's going to be pretty popular. You just need a couple of these cheap guys if you're playing Verlander.
Yeah, the Atlanta cheap guys are definitely where I would be looking. Duvall up a couple of spots in the lineup too, up to 6. He's been down in that 8-hole, so that helps a little bit. Excuse me. Eddie Rosario, another Atlanta bat that makes a ton of sense. And then I think I'm trying to save out here as much as I can. I like Riley Green at 2.8. You mentioned Quan at 2.5, an excellent option. Jesse Winker is 2,700. I like the talent there.
Do you want Green, or I was just looking at this myself, Green or Winker if you had to pick one of those two?
Yeah, I mean, that's close. I think I'd go Winker. I know it hasn't been a great season for him. Just against the young guy in Howard. I was looking at Howard's splits a little bit. He's been reverse splitsy. I don't know that holds just looking at his pitch arsenal. So Winker, I think, actually sets up really well against Howard. I'd go Winker.
All right. Are you calling the Winker? Was it the 3 home run or the 4 home run game that he had one of those days? Was that 3 home runs? This was like a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, did he hit 4 once? I don't think he hit
3.
4.
He had a 3 home run game. Yeah, that was last
Yeah.
year. He had one of those. So
Yep.
yeah. I don't know if we're calling that, but yeah, I think I'd play Winker over Green, but it is pretty close on there. In the outfield, Andre, let's wrap it up here. What would we be looking at? For some offense? Atlanta's got the big total, but there's no Acuna. Houston, but do those guys really, outside of Tucker, you don't really want to use one of them. I think Tucker, even lefty is someone I would really trying to be target today. What else would you be looking at in the outfield?
Yeah, mention those guys. I do love them a lot today. These Cleveland guys as well, like Steven Kwan, Naylor, Rosario are all good options as well. Want to get to some of these Baltimore guys, so like a guy like Austin Hayes or Cedric Mullins. Primarily Mullins, though. I would be targeting those 2 guys typically, traditionally more so. And obviously the Atlanta guys, all of them are good positions, no matter which one you go with. Take them all. I think they all are capable of hitting the home run today and having a big game. So I like all of them as well. Juan Soto as a one-off, even with the whole contract dispute, I think it's just going to go out there and play hard and play well. And obviously these Seattle guys, I love them a lot today as well. I'll be all over them. And Kyle Schwarber as a one-off in this Miami game, I think it's a good option too.
All right, Keith, would you play Verlander with a Cleveland stack? That just seems like it. Yeah, like you're playing one of the big up top tournaments. That just seems like everyone's going to have that today.
Yeah, I mean, smaller slate, it just fits together too nicely. You probably need to make a pivot. Maybe if you do something weird, like leave Ramirez out of it, which obviously huge risk there. But you definitely, yeah. I mean, it's not the. You got to do something different, though. That's the point that we're making. Yeah. You can't just play Verlander in the top 4 Cleveland bats and expect to win a tournament, because you'd have to be exactly perfect from a raw points perspective from the other 4 spots in your lineup too. So I would not do it. I'd pivot at pitcher more than likely if I was playing Cleveland. Talked about Verlander's strikeouts being down, so I think somebody could match him on the slate.
All right, Andre, look at the team totals under 4 on this slate. Give me your favorite offense from the low team totals.
I actually just eliminated like almost all of them Baltimore.
Yeah, I was thinking Baltimore, maybe. Just thinking of, it's not Washington, it's not Oakland. Who is it, Keith?
It's Baltimore.
Is it Philly against the rookie? You never know on that one. I could take a shot on that. I do like Baltimore, but I don't know the same one. I'm going to go with Philly.
Fair enough.
Who would you take, Keith?
I'm on the Baltimore side there.
All right, yeah. So we all like Baltimore. Maybe everyone's on Baltimore as the low owned team total. But yeah, I think we can all agree on that one. All right, that'll wrap it up for the little abbreviated 4 p.m. version of the Fanduel show. Thank you everyone for watching for the entirety. We appreciate it. Click the like button on your way out on YouTube. I wish Keith all the good knockouts and submissions for his UFC lineups. I hope Andre has a good rest of his day. I'm going to go do father things now that I have a 2-month-old baby. So I'm going to go figure out whatever the wife tells me to do when I get upstairs. That's what I got to do. So thanks to everyone for watching. For Keith and Andre, I'm Brit, and we out, you.